Hello. Welcome to Jewish Culture and Jewish Awareness. My name is Dustin Hausner. I'm the Jewish Outreach and Program Director at the Wayne YMCA. Our Jewish programming is funded through the Jewish Federation of Northern New Jersey. So this episode is a little different. This is a thank you episode. We're going to hopefully keep it fairly short. Um, but we've reached about 50 episodes. We've gotten collectively at the recording of this video roughly around 3,000 views for our videos, which, considering we're a small operation, we don't do mass marketing, we don't have a huge budget. For those who've watched our episodes, it's usually the background is my office space or the space in the office at the Wayne YMCA. This is my home office space. So we came from a very small show that didn't have a title, that was kind of a little all over the place, to now we have a really nice title. I love Jewish Culture and Jewish Awareness as the title. We have a formula to the show, which is great. For those of you who watched the episodes before, I have a very specific look. I wear a cardigan and a bow tie. Very quickly, just a fun fact, the reasoning for that is, number one, I happen to love bow ties. I think there's just something really nice about them. And a cardigan, a little bit in kind of that, there's something about kind of like a Mr. Rogers type thing. I feel like when you wear a cardigan, it looks nice, but it doesn't look like a suit. So you kind of have more of a comfort feeling with it. So that's the reason I do the cardigans and the bow tie specifically, and usually a button-down shirt. So I just wanted to take a few moments to thank you, the viewer, whether this is your first episode, whether this is your fifth episode, whether you've been watching all the episodes. Thank you so much for doing that. When we first started, we didn't know what the viewership was going to be. This was very much a reaction to COVID-19. Normally, I used to do and hope to do in the future in-person speakers and programming. But once COVID hit, that was, of course, off the table. Our first two episodes are actually not on this YouTube channel. They were on a previous channel where we did Passover and Yom HaShoah. And then after that, when it became clear that COVID was going to be much longer, that we needed to do something more structured. So that's how the show came about. We've done all sorts of types of interviews. We've tried to keep it with a local feel and having like local rabbis, local organizations, places in New Jersey, which is where the show is centrally located. And we've had some marvelous guests. And we've also tried guests that are not necessarily New Jersey, but are a variety of different subjects. We've had specific interest stories on Jewish individuals, such as Ernestine Rose, Hannah Ardent, Murray Buchin, and many others, or at least in the future, we're hoping to explore other people as well. People who you may not have necessarily heard of that have a Jewish background and kind of where that Jewish identity led them, and their philosophy and their work and things like that. We also did much bigger subjects. So like we had Gil Troy, who's a very well-renowned academic as well as an activist in his own right when it comes to Zionism and Jewish Israeli issues. We had him talking about the Zionist ideas, which is his book, which was a really great episode. We've also touched on diversity subjects such as Pride Month, Juneteenth, and other such things where we've tried exploring different subjects in learning for just ourselves, but also intersectionality. We do a really good interview with one of the heads of the Tribe Herald, which is focused on Jews of color, their perspective and their stories, which is something that I think many people need to hear more about. And I was very happy that we got that interview. And we've also done things like cooking. We did Jewish Food Hero, where the main founder talked a little bit about recipes and their thought process. So we try to find a nice variety of Jewish subjects, Jewish culture, and other diverse subjects that as Jews we should be aware of, or we should consider. Or as I mentioned, intersectionality, there are Jews who are LGBTQ, there are Jews of color, a lot of it has to do with different things like that. So we'll continue to try and do interesting episodes. Definitely next year we'll continue the series. Depending on what's going on with COVID, we may have in-person speakers and this as well. That's something we'll have to figure out further down the line. But, it's you, the viewer, who's allowed the show to continue. We could have had a couple of episodes and no one showed up, and then we wouldn't have this show. But, over 50 episodes later, we still have great guests. We do a variety of subjects. Some episodes I'm sure you may love if you've watched these episodes before, and some may have pushed the boundaries a little bit. And you know what? That's okay. We wanted to find the balance between showing things that you were familiar with, doing an episode on Sukkot, doing something that talks a little bit about, Passover, things like that. We wanted to show what was things you were familiar with, but also things that were different. Like the episode we did, Hebrew tattoos. There was this great artist who not only does tattoos, but his primary is calligraphy and beautiful artwork that involves Jewish lettering. So you could check on HebrewTattoos.com or his other, or if you go onto the website, he actually has a gallery to his other work that's outside of tattoos. It's really beautiful. We've supported businesses like the Matzah Project. When I say support, I just mean inform you of them. Obviously, no financial support. We usually have tried to find interesting businesses that are doing something unique. The Matzah Project does like artisanal matzah, which is really interesting, and it was a wonderful interview, one of my favorites. So I'm happy to talk about that. There's a lot of episodes. There's a lot of wonderful content. Some of them last like 15 minutes long. Some of them last an hour, over an hour. It always varies based on the subject and the person. When we did this back in the day, when we had in person, it was usually about 45, 50 minutes where the speaker would speak and then Q&A. We've kind of left it to the person and the flow of the conversation of how long or how short these episodes are. So that's kind of a reason why there's no steady, like every episode's 15 minutes or every episode is 50. It really depends on the person and the subject matter we're talking about. If you're interested in suggesting future guests, or if you want to provide feedback, in the description, we're going to provide my work email. So please feel free to email me and let me know your thoughts. We're constantly trying to have new people, while at the same time, we'll certainly have some of our favorites and some people who requested to come back. They had a great time on the show, so they would like to come back and talk, which I'm excited about. And yeah, I want to thank, of course, the Wayne YMCA for supporting this show, from the executive director down to the staff who have been there throughout this whole time, to the Metro YMCAs of the Oranges, which is the association where the Wayne YMCA is under in New Jersey, specifically the marketing team, whether it's Matthew, Drew, Greg, Molly, all of you. Thank you so much for all your technical help and support behind the scenes to help out with the show. To, of course, the Jewish Federation of Northern New Jersey, Cheryl, Lauren, Lisa, all of you, thank you so much for continuing to support the show, and let me know what your favorites are and ones that you would want to see maybe done differently in the future. We very much welcome feedback, and as I mentioned, this is not a hugely financed, professionalized show. I did not go to school for journalism or anything. You'll hear me saying sometimes, you'll hear me mess up the title a few times. This was something that was done as a response, like I said, to COVID. And while along the way, I like to think we've done a nice variety of episodes, and we'll continue to do so. I like to think I've gotten a little better when it comes to interviewing people. Some episodes, you could tell I'm very into the guest. Other episodes, I'm a little bit more professional and reserved. It really varies on the subject and what we're talking about. So after all this being said, I just wanted to thank you, the viewer, one more time for watching this. I hope you, if you've watched our previous episodes, thank you. If you haven't, I hope you'll consider it. We have some really interesting episodes. We hope you'll watch in the future, because we definitely have a nice lineup of different people that will be speaking next month, and then we'll get more for the following month, and so on and so forth. So just thank you again, and please feel free to email me with feedback, guest ideas. If any of you have Mel Brooks's email or phone number, happy to take it. Would love to interview him. That's a dream one of mine. But just thank you for everything. I hope you'll stay healthy. I hope you'll stay safe. I hope you'll have a wonderful new year. And just thank you so much for allowing this show to be a small part of your day, or if you've watched it weekly, your weekly ritual. We really do appreciate the support. So thank you so much, and just have a wonderful rest of the day.